Hello, welcome to day 2 of Sales on Repeat. How are you after day 1? I already received some DMs from a couple of you. I'm also reading your comments under the video, and I want to tell you how grateful I am for the realizations, insights that you are getting. Feel free to share even more. Don't be shy. As I said, this is a safe space. That's why we have the group where you can come and share what comes out for you as breakthroughs, as something that you're committing to do. And to start seeing these regular sales coming in, before I dive deep in day 2, which is going to be nothing less than yesterday. But as I said, each and every day here is going to be a piece of the puzzle. And although you probably have many or most of the pieces or even all of the pieces, this will feel and you will experience it as if everything is coming to its place. And before I dive deep into the next day, my question to you today, and please answer this in the group, and you can also post directly to the main wall in the group. You can present yourself, tell us who you are, where are you currently. But what I want to know is, what do you want for your brand and business right now at that stage? I want to see your answers in the group, whether it's going to be in the comment section when you're watching the replay, whether it's going to be directly a whole post if you have more things to say. I want to know, what do you want and how do you want your world, aka your brand, to be perceived and felt by your clients. And take some time to reflect on this. Maybe you will even need a couple of days to get that vision, that clarity. Maybe you will need to take some time off the world, let's say, if you're someone like me who finds and who channels the best ideas and campaigns and messaging and even programs when you are by yourself, and you need to find this in you, because everything is in you. You can achieve anything you want. You have it. It's here in you. It's not in the external world. But you need to be very clear. What do you want for your business? How do you want your business to be, to feel? How much money you want to make in the next 12 months? There is no small dream and no too big dream. And when we are speaking of creating sales on a repeat, this is all about how you make people feel in your world. Today, I want to talk about something that most people completely underestimate when it comes to sales. I will cover a couple of topics, of course, not just one, but it will be mainly how to build a brand that people remember, return to, and trust. You are going to probably clarify your trademark essence, your unique essence, what people feel and remember you for. And you are going to understand why you might feel like you're visible but not memorable, and how to get out of this cycle. Because a lot of business owners think repeat sales come from the more, the doing, posting more, being more visible, having better hooks, launching more often, being more consistent, pushing, more follow-ups, more just checking, code DMs and emails. But that's not actually what creates brand people keep coming back to. Because people do not buy from a business on repeat just because the offer is good. Yeah, this will create something, don't get me wrong. This is all about a brand that is remembered and extremely profitable, and a world where people want to be in is all about people, status, and journey. People don't buy again where they feel processed. They buy again where they felt held, led, stabilized, and expanded. They buy on repeat because your brand feels like a place they want to return to. A place where they feel seen, when they can say, I'm coming here today on this call to celebrate 100K month. But also, I'm coming here today because things in my business are not going as well as I want. I actually made 50K and I was on consistent 30, 50K months, but now things are not going so well. I lost the direction. I still make sales, but it's not okay. And they will be understood and feel safe to say this. They will feel valued, and that you as a human is going to, and as a mentor, as a leader, you're going to say, that's fine. I see what you're going through. So they will be valued at any stage of their journey. And once again, I'm giving you the example of my business mentorship journey, but this relates to any niche, and regardless of what you're doing. Let's say you're a health, wellness, weight loss coach, and when your client comes and says, yeah, everything is on track, I'm doing great, I'm losing weight, I'm getting clean and fit, but they can also come and say, you know, it was Easter, I ate a lot, and now I'm 3 kilos up again. And they expect you to stabilize this, not to be like, why did you eat so much? But to actually help them be able to eat during Easter and then be able to keep the weight. And that you can elevate them even in moments when they are not in their peak potential. So they feel well led and deeply supported. The question is how to build a brand that is not just being helpful, but desired, not just good, but chosen, not just both once, but both again. And the truth is, the strongest brands, whether they sell coaching, healing, services, therapy, strategy, hypnotherapy, money mindset, beauty, wellness, or any product, they tend to follow the same principles, and all of them are deeper. Not because they are luxury, not because like all of them are luxury brands in the fashion sense, but because they understand how to create desire, trust, emotional safety, and long-term brand power. So I want to walk you through the key strategies behind that. Repeat sales are not created with pressure. You win repeat sales by creating trust. You don't create repeat buyers by chasing the next sale. You create repeat buyers by creating a brand experience people want to stay inside. And I will tell you a couple of stories from my journey. It is clear that I'm exceptionally strong at creating repeat buyers, long-term clients, deeper client retention, natural upgrades, long-term brand trust, emotional loyalty, But that's not because I pressure people, not because I oversell, not because I manufacture urgency. It is because people feel very quickly, this is someone who sees me properly. This is someone who understands my business beyond the surface. This is someone I can trust for where I am going, not just where I am today. And that makes people stay. If the client feels like transaction, there will be no loyalty. And I want to tell you that I worked as a brand manager in the corporate world, and I had to build multiple brands at a time to multi 6 and 7 figures, like 6 or 7 brands at a time with launches. And in the corporate world, that is much more different than what it is in the coaching business. And again, you need to create loyalty so people buy this same product again and again every time they need it. Because you need to work with your partners and to create loyalty in them, to create really good client retention and long-term trust in the brand and in the company. Not just to be useful. Useful is not the same as unforgettable. It's not enough to be good. It's not enough to have great product. You have to be the choice that stays in people's minds. And I will tell you exactly how I proceed. So people buy 2, 3, 4, 5 times or stay long-term with me. So you can apply this in your business. Let me know in the comments how many times on average, of course, like not every time this is on average, but let me know in the comments how many times is currently one person buying from you. Once they enter and buy one offer, are they buying another thing again or the next step, or are they upgrading into long-term work? This is not about pressure, once again. This is about becoming very clear and aware of the data. Let's perceive this as data. This is not a you problem, once again. This is not about you and your brilliance. I know you're brilliant. But let's see the data. Let's see, should we work on your revenue-led positioning? Should we work on the buyer journey? Should we set up the system behind the buyer journey so you are not leaking clients on the journey, on the way to the next step? I want to know how your business is currently set up. And when someone enters your world, whether it's through a lead magnet, whether it's a free masterclass, webinar, downloading something like PDF, let me know in the comments. If you're catching the replay, comment replay and tell me. And here is what helped me, especially as soon as I started my business, I started selling retainers. At first they were like shorter, some of them were like 3 months, 6 months. Then I shifted to 12 months, but this is strategy, of course. And there is one thing that is not so much about the strategy. I built my business, and wherever I have, even when I was in corporate and I was selling these couple of different products, my initial strategy building and planning never was, how do I get this one sale? Instead, I have always built around, how do I create an experience where the right people, the right person, let's speak of one person, feels deeply met, deeply understood, and naturally wants to stay in my world. because this is very different. I'm not thinking, how do I convince this person? Or how do I close this person? How do I make the next sale? This is like, you need to understand, of course, you as a business owner, you need to think of this, but behind it, what's underneath that? Underneath, I'm thinking, what does this person actually need right now? What is really happening in their business? What is the long-term potential here? What would actually move them forward, not just today, but over time? And this could sound like I'm having a conversation with someone last week and I'm asking you, how much is the plan for you to make this year? And she tells me 100K. And I'm looking at the positioning that I am seeing in the messaging, in the copy. And I'm telling her, here is why sales are not happening and you will not make 100K with this aspirational positioning. Because people are not recognizing themselves in this and your competitor is outperforming you heavily and you're not even close to get even 3% of this. You need to shift this positioning and to build way more trust, specificity, and depth for your ideal client. When you do this, you will make 200K, not 100. Right now, you're not only losing money, but every sale is so difficult, so pushed, so hard to get that I don't even know how you have the power for this. And she's like, this is where she feels deeply seen, held, understood. This is where she sees the depth, and that I'm not only trying to get her money, but that I'm really trying and wanting to help her. And I'm telling her, now imagine if instead of pushing every single sale, we adjust your positioning and everything starts working, and all these force that you are now using to make a single sale, imagine what is going to happen when this becomes creative power and sales happen quickly and easily. You will have so much power to utilize the potential of this product and this brand. And you will feel joyful. Everything is going to be easy. Your sales are going to start flowing. And when we repeat this message over and over again, in 12 months, your brand is going to start taking a huge market share from this competitor. And she feels all of this. I can see it on her face. People can feel when you're trying to extract, and they can feel when you are there truly for them and you want to build with them. That difference is everything. Your buyer journey shouldn't just sell, it should develop the client. It should show them how much potential they have and what is so much possible and what's going to be the transformation. This is the emotional experience I create. And this part is very important because this is my brand code, culture, care, experience. I'm not performing expert. I'm creating an experience that feels natural, grounded, real, intelligent, so deeply human, high level, but not cold. Strategic and on point, but not transactional. And this is so rare. This is so rare. This is an underserved market. People are raving for this right now. Do you know why? Because most of the coaches in any niche, some of them feel warm but vague. This is where the positioning is and the messaging is, yeah, it's warming, it's nice, but it says nothing, and your ideal client cannot recognize themselves in this. Or others are like very strategic and everything is like very correct, but it's emotionally flat. And people read and say, yeah, but I don't know, I don't feel it somehow. I don't know why. And my edge is that I can hold both. And this is what I want you to take from this masterclass. This is why I started like this yesterday, because it's not either or. Because there is duality in everything, and it's not, I make a sale, but I don't care of the client, or I care so much of the client, but I don't make sales. There is a very thin line. And people don't buy from me again because I push them. They buy again because they feel safe, seen, understood, and expanded in my world. I will give you an example. Someone comes for an intensive, and in 1 month, they get so clear. They see the whole strategy, because this is how I work. I'm not starting with one piece of content, but I want you to see and vision the big picture, to have the whole strategy and to know what are you going to do from the big picture. So we have the whole picture of the puzzle, and then we start putting the pieces where they need to be. And so in 1 month, when we are having these intensives, my clients get so clear what they need to be doing, and then they are, okay, now let me execute it. Help me execute it. Help me hold the pressure when things are going great and when things are not going so great. And what I want you to do, and to tell me in the comments, how would you do this for your business and for your clients? Clients buy again when they don't feel like they're being handled as transaction. They buy again when they feel like they're being held as a whole human being with a real, whether it's going to be business, relationship, their own body, their own hormones, their own mindset, traumas, blockages. They have a real life and real desires. And it's not the internet, it's people. And these people simply have profiles on social media. But these are real humans that you can meet in the grocery store or in the coffee shop. Are you speaking in your social media when you're writing a post or showing up live or on a sales call as if you're sitting face to face with this client and having a coffee together? Are you perceiving these people as a whole human being, or simply as a lead on social media? These people have real desires and huge potential. They can actually live by this potential. And by you showing them, you know what and how they feel and what they want. I want to know. Tell me in the comments. How does that land for you? Are you treating people on social media as if they are some aliens? Or are you actually treating them as real humans? And when you get on calls, if you're doing sales calls, how are you treating this person? Are you being natural? Asking them, tell me, what do you want and where are you currently? Tell me, how do you see yourself? And being able to tell them, this is not happening because XYZ. And when you do, and here you insert your methodology and start positioning your work. And when I'm here next to you over the next 6 or 12 months, you're going to experience, to feel, the result is going to be, the transformation is going to be, without you needing to starve yourself during the Easter holidays, for example, or without you needing to get in debt, or without you needing to have anxiety at night. That means not just let's make sales, not just let's optimize conversions, not let's just push content, but also what is happening in your life. Tell me, I want to know. What capacity are you actually in? Like my client, one of my clients who had a 2-year-old toddler, and she was trying to turn her hobby into business. And we built a beautiful plan, but guess what happened next? Her child didn't want to sleep at 2 p.m. when she was supposed to do a live or to run a free 14-day challenge so she can sell a program to these people. And when she was DMing me, this is so difficult, I don't know if I can do it, my child doesn't want to sleep, I'm about to give up, I don't want to do this free thing, it's costing me so much effort and it's so hard. And I had to be there for her and to hold her, sometimes to give her a tough love, sometimes to say, okay, this is not going to work at that time, simply show up when you can do it, when the child is sleeping. People will see the live replay at any time. But when you don't have this mentor next to you, you're going to skip the day because you couldn't do it at 2 p.m. when it was planned. And then you're going to skip it again. And then you start putting less and less content. People don't see you, people don't understand what are you doing, how are you doing it, or when your positioning is vague and you're posting and it's not working, as a result you start posting less, or when there is no one to tell you and to navigate with you how do you position your work and how are you leading your sales call. So you do 20 sales calls and do not make 20 sales, but you make 1 or 2 sales when you can make 5 or 6, for example. Ask people, what are you going through? What season are you in? So we can build your diet and your regime around it. So it suits you, not that you just avoid it because you simply cannot execute it. Not because you're lazy, but it just doesn't, it's impossible to make this work. What is the real emotion and strategic truth behind the sale and the code that you're having or the content you're writing? And that matters a lot. You will see a completely different type of person entering your spaces, working with you. They will be really committed. They will be like ready for the transformation. And when you do this, do you know what's going to happen? Your clients are going to want to stay and work with you long term. When clients feel like they're only valuable when they are paying and you're not doing what I just gave you as an example, and of course you can adjust this to your case, your brand, your tone of voice. But if your clients are only valuable to you when they are paying, they will buy once. But this won't build loyalty. Whereas when they feel this person actually sees me, this person remembers me, I know when my clients had an appointment at the dentist. I know when my client is having a headache. I know when my clients' children's birthdays are. And they say, this person gets how I operate. This person cares about my actual growth. And now I'm not saying that you should be only the nice person and understands, of course, these people understand their part in the responsibility. This is not like I'm going to hold you regardless of what's happening. This is, I see what you're going through, but let's see how to make it work. And there comes your responsibility. And this is when people say, yes, she actually cares. And now I can actually take my part and take the responsibility. And that creates a very different kind of relationship, totally different kind of relationship. These are the clients who are going to celebrate you, not to get jealous of you. These are the clients who are going to tell you, I'm so happy you're going on vacation, you deserve it. Instead of, oh, what vacation? You have to be right here delivering to me every day, although I don't do anything. And these people, the people who are doing their part of the agreement, they will say, she can see where this can actually go, aka that you see the potential in them and you believe in them. So they can only trust themselves. They can also, trust themselves. They will say, she can see what this business could become, or what my body could look like, or what my bank account could look like. She sees bigger future for me than what I'm seeing right now, or for their relationship. And that creates desire, a lot of desire actually, because people do not only buy solutions, especially nowadays with AI. They buy access to someone who can help them access their next level of self, brand, business, body, relationship, wealth, and standard. And this is what creates retention, trust, referrals, repeat sales, long-term client lifetime value. Client lifetime value, remember this term. So think about this for yourself. What makes you genuinely excited about your client journey and experience? Think how you can show this to them. Can you show this to them in your sales calls? Or you can start doing lives on social media, or every piece of content that you're posting has a paragraph about that, for example. Or maybe you could write one piece of content per week that is going to be speaking to the potential and the highest possible transformation. How can you lead them? How can you show up and tell them what would the transformation feel? How would the transformation feel without giving them the secret sauce, without oversharing, but by painting the picture and using revenue-led positioning to showcase your methodology, but not overgive. If there is someone here who don't know what revenue-led positioning is, this is how you're positioning your offer in a way that it always drives sales. And I have a free masterclass, Magnetic to Money. This is a 40-minute masterclass specifically about the revenue-led positioning, so you learn how to write this way, that in a way that in 1 or 2 sentences you can sell. And this is when every piece of content will start bringing leads and clients, and people will want more from you. This is how in 5 days you can make 100K even if you wish. Of course, depending on the stage you're in, on the audience readiness and warmth, but this is absolutely possible. And I'm an example of this. One of the fastest ways to create repeat buyers is to stop treating your work like a one-off fix. This is huge. Stop promising quick fix for every low ticket offer or free space, or like if you're selling intensives. Be transparent. Start selling the big long-term transformation offer, and then say, if this doesn't feel okay right now to come and work with me for 6 or 12 months, you can enter here. Let's start with an intensive, for example, or start with this free masterclass. Take your time. Move step by step. But if you are ready for the quantum leap and you're ready to love yourself when you look yourself in the mirror and to put a dress that fits perfectly and to be able to freely put these white jeans, then the 6-month work with me is for you. But if you want to start small and train your body, you can start with this 30-day challenge. For example, I'm just brainstorming right now. And you can apply this in your content, in your lives, in sales calls, in your current spaces. Like, you know, your best clients are your current clients. And if you have a 3-month space where you want to invite some people to 12-month work because they just warmed up, and you can say, this was just the warm up. This was just the first space. If you want to continue this conversation, if you want to continue experiencing the transformation, these small wins were just a bite of the whole bread. If you want to continue this, this is the space. Because if you sell like for any low ticket space, or even let's say you have a 3K offer that is 1 month long, for example, and people just start experiencing, people just start getting used to what you're doing, people just start getting the first tiny result and transformation, and if they stop here, everything stops. And if you are selling like, here's the quick answer, here's the one strategy, here is the one session, here is the one thing you need, you collapse the long-term value of your own work. How much this costs you? Do you know? This is costing you millions in the reset. Whereas when you lead from truth and creative power, you naturally help the client see, yes, this will help me, but also there is so much bigger body of work here. Not in a manipulative way, not in how do I upsell them way, but in an honest way. What do you want to tell me? That, for example, do you really believe that in 5 days you can build a business and sales are going to be like this all the time? No, this is just, I'm introducing the concept to you. And if you apply these things here, you're going to see good sales. Maybe if you apply everything that I told you yesterday and today, people in your current programs are going to upgrade, but let's say 3 or 5 people will upgrade. And if you stop doing this, do you expect that this is going to be a long-term transformation? And you know this could be your reality, but do you think that 5 days are enough for you to get used to this and to apply to each and every offer in the right way with the right positioning to build, you know, the whole buyer journey and buyer experience in 5 days? Yes, I'm giving you the insights, the breakthroughs, but you know that you need to come and work with me long term if you want this to become your new reality. And of course, I had a period of time when I was like, it came from a good place, of course, because if someone is really excited and can do it, 1 month with me can make the whole difference. But most of the people actually realize that 1 month is just starting. most meaningful business transformation does not happen in one conversation all of the time. Although one call with me and one session with me could really shift your positioning and bring you a lot of sales, a lot of transformations, long-term clients. But you are aware that this, like building a real business with sustainable 30, 50, 100K months, millions, it's not going to happen in 5 days. And there was a moment, if I have to be very honest, there was a tiny moment, a season when I had this post today that my business felt like a one night stand. And this is true, you know, because at some point I was giving this to people, and there were people coming and actually expecting to make 1 million in 5 days. There were clients who signed up for 6 months, but then on the second month they said nothing is happening, and they said, I'm leaving. And I was like, wait a second, we have a contract. How come you are leaving? But they didn't care. They breached the contracts, and this is how I learned that I need to have good terms and conditions, good contracts to be protected. And most of all, they were ungrateful when they said, this is not working. In the meantime, other clients who were doing all the work, they were having incredible results on the 30th day. But some people didn't have a result on the second month, 60th day. And this is how I learned to be more transparent, but not only to be transparent, but to, you know, because there are moments when you could be really very transparent, but the person on the other side they simply don't care. And they are not doing the work, and they will come and tell you, look, your work doesn't work. And this is when I learned to actually be able to hold my boundaries and to say, you didn't execute X, Y, Z, you didn't shift your positioning, you didn't set up your buyer journey in a good way, that what we were discussing, you were not consistent, you were not showing up to all calls. This is not how you build a business. And there will be people who can feel when you actually quote them with that level of honesty and vision. And this will build trust and strengthen your client-mentor relationship, but other people are going to say, no, I'm leaving. That's part of the game. You need to accept this. Because if you draw yourself in this, you will not be able to serve the people who are the meaningful ones. And you should focus on creating trust with the people who want this, who actually want this, not the people who say they want it, because this is going to exist. And I don't want to say you should not have quick, easy, fun offers like, I don't know, 14-day challenge, 30-day challenge, or some like intensives. Of course, do them. I love this. But we are speaking of high-ticket sales, retainers, long-term spaces here. This is what Sales on Repeat is about. And if you always lead with the easy Band-Aid fix, you will create this buying culture. While when you lead with my work is deep, and this is a long-term transformation, are you ready for the big leap and to come in my 12-month space? Or if not, that's fine. Come here in this and take step one of the journey in this 1 month intensive, for example. This is another buying culture. And this, when you do this, the person who said, I'm not ready, or I cannot afford this yet, or I simply cannot commit to 12 months and I'm not sure, this is fine. But then when they come to your free masterclass, or when they come to, I don't know, an offer that is 30 days or like 12 weeks, yes, I'm aware this was step one. And now I'm ready. I'm already at level 2 and I'm ready to go to level 3. I'm not ready yet to go to level 10. So let me take level 3, 4, 5. And this is fine. And this is how you make repeat sales. And this is how now the people who are ready for the big transformation will come to your, for example, mastermind or one-on-one. But those who are not, it's totally fine to stay in the offers that are the step-by-step process. So I want to ask you, what's the current buying culture in your world? And be honest with yourself. Don't sugarcoat it. Tell me in the comments when you're catching the replay. What's the buying culture in your world currently? Are you selling one-time sessions, one-time intensives, or are you selling long-term transformation and then breaking it down to steps? What's the buying culture in your world? I didn't build my business around chasing one-off sales. I built my brand around creating the kind of trust, depth, desirability, and client experience that makes the right people want to stay, return, and be with me long term. And this is how I did it and how I keep doing it. I'm giving them the big vision, the big potential that I see in their brand, in themselves, in their business. And I'm painting the picture of all that they could get if they go all in. But if they are not ready, they don't have the budget, they are not ready to commit, or whatever reason, I'm not taking it personally and I'm saying, okay, and this is what I call the sample offer. Start here. Let's start with this one-time thing. Let's start with this. Let's take it step by step. When you feel ready, you're welcome to come. I'm here. But I'm not interested in making people feel sold to. And I honestly do not want people who are not ready for this in my high proximity, because this is draining me. I'm interested in making the right people feel so deeply understood, supported, and expanded that buying again feels natural. And how this connects to the core backbone. Clients buying again is not random. It comes from the thing that I'm teaching you here, desirability. So you create a world people want to stay in, control. So you're not selling from desperation or over availability. And you can say, okay, if you're not ready for level 10, let's start at level 2. I see you're at level 2, that's fine, I'm okay with it. Here is what you can get. Then comes consistency. People know what kind of experience they're going to get with you. And consistency here means that you are repeating the same message over and over again. You're giving different examples, different lenses, but the core, the essence is the same. Then comes the craft. This is very important. This is the depth, the thought, the care, the precision in how you work and how you care of your clients. This is the client experience. The next step, emotional experience. People feel seen, safe, understood, and held. And then comes the long-term brand power, where you say, I'm not only solving this for today's sale. I'm building long-term client trust and long-term brand equity. So day 2, everything that I told you is not just here are some brand principles or brand values that are written on paper and no one cares. Now this is literally how you build repeat buyers and long-term trust in your business. And this is how I did it. And this is how I have 7% conversion rate with 1,000 people in my audience. This is how I make 4 and 5 figure sales behind the scenes, because people are not commenting, but they're coming to my DMs. So the key takeaway I want you to have from day 2 is, if you want repeat buyers, Stop obsessing over how to make the next sale. Start obsessing over how it feels to be in your world. This is where most people are weak. They are too focused on what to post, say, convert, launch the next piece of content, and there are not enough people are focused on what it feels like to buy here, what it feels like to stay here, what it feels like to be supported here, what it feels like to grow here. And I'm going to give you an example. In the last 10 or 15 years, I was buying only Samsung as a smartphone. I was so happy. Like the operation system, the battery, everything, you know, I really loved everything, the camera. And what happened a couple of months ago, I bought this, the phone that is folding, Z Flip 5, the folding one. And of course, a thin line started appearing because although I was not constantly closing and opening it, the lid, of course, there is this defect. And they said the warranty is not valid. And I was like, I freaked out. And I said, I'm buying Samsung from 15 years and you're saying the warranty is not valid and you want me to pay like 400 euro for a new display. Are you guys not normal? Do you know how loyal customer I am and I'm referring you to everyone? And how fiercely I protect you over iPhone? And since this happened, I said, I'm done. I am done. I felt so disappointed. And as someone building brands, I know how important this is. So have you ever bought something, whether it's going to be a smartphone, another appliance, or I don't know, a TV or whatever you wish, or a service, or like a coaching space, and you felt like just a number and that no one cares? If you had a negative experience with coaching, you will know exactly what I mean. So ask yourself how your clients feel. And this is where repeat revenue is actually built. I will never again buy Samsung. I will not buy a TV. I will not buy a refrigerator. I will buy nothing from Samsung anymore. And same with some coaches that I have also invested in. I will never again buy a thing there. Don't be this brand. Even if people are saying like, it was great, but right now I'm not ready for the next step. You don't know how quickly these people will return if they were treated properly. Let me know in the comments. Have you experienced this? Let me check the comments. What's going on here? Okay. Hi, Helen. Yes, you say yes. This happened to you. Yeah, so how does your current buyer experience feels? How do people in your world currently feel? And also, don't be on the other edge where you're giving everything and you receive just a fraction of this. Reciprocity. Reciprocity. Okay? Because I know that many brilliant women, and I have also been there, like I give so much, so I told you this yesterday, I gave you examples. I give so much so that I have no creative power left for myself. So review your buyer experience. Where you're giving too much, like it could be a, for example, low ticket membership that takes a lot of your time, effort, and instead you want to focus on something else like a mastermind or a higher ticket offer. So review the experiences and think how to still make it really great, but to have very clear scope. Like, for example, the calls are on Wednesday at this time. You have the links, you have the emails, you have everything. If you do not read your mails, it's not my responsibility to put you in the room, you know, so you don't waste more of your time, because sometimes in the desire to make it really great, you go on the other edge. And this is also not okay, because this is draining you. So make sure the client experience is great, but there are also boundaries. One of my challenges sometimes is I ask them more questions after they send me their answers, and it takes time for 30 pounds. Yeah, so Helen, when you're selling, if you're, I'm assuming this is a one-time session probably. So first of all, I would say raise the price. Like, you're doing money mindset work, you cannot charge 30 pounds. 30-day challenge. So is it 30-day challenge or 30 pounds or 30 pounds for the 30-day challenge? Great example, actually. I love this. This is probably an example of a great client experience where you are not compensated. Okay, 30 pounds for 30-day challenge. Okay, that's not bad. If you have a lot of people there, keep them, but make sure that you are leading them to something big. Make sure you're saying, let's start with the basics of, I don't know how it's structured, and I don't know what exactly you're doing there, but make sure you're telling them, let's start with the basics. And now, when you have the basics, you're ready to come into something bigger that you have your next phase. And here, I would say, make it only that you are delivering some, like, I don't know, some short, whether it's voice notes or videos. Make sure you do this, and there is no back and forth included. You cannot charge 30 pounds for 30 days and to be like one-on-one with them. So what you can do is something that I'm doing. Like, I have, you see in the sales on repeat, we have housekeeping rules, and there I will read you exactly what I have in the housekeeping rules. So, but this needs to be clearly communicated before people enter, Helen. So what I'm saying in rule number 2 is, this is not a high access coaching program, but I will be tuning in. I will be observing the group comments and adding clarification where needed to keep you on track. And you can do something similar. You can come, go into the group and read this if you wish, Helen. But what you can do, if this is low ticket entry level space, this is great. Just make sure you're, first of all, making it very clear that these are the very basics, that this will prepare them for the next level of wealth or money transformation or whatever it is. And make sure that you're only giving like the sessions that you want to tune in, and then you're not going to answer each and every one of them. They can comment and you can observe the comments. If you wish, you can do a Q&A session, or you can tune in and say, yeah, I see this topic is very common. Let me tell you my take on this, but not to everyone. This is my recommendation for this space right now. And this is for the whole group. So this is an example where you're giving a great client experience, but you are not receiving reciprocally. So make sure, that's why I'm asking you, what's the client experience? Do you need to tighten some scope of work, some boundaries, how you're delivering it, or do you need to improve it? Brilliant. Thank you. Okay, wonderful. I'm so happy this answered your question. Let me check my notes if I'm forgetting something. Any comments, any questions? Put your comments if you're catching the replay. So for most of you, I think I can actually show you what's happening in your business right now. And you need to listen to this carefully. By joining this 5-day challenge, you probably expected me to tell you to do more, to post more, to get more visible. And as you see, this is not what I'm doing. And as you see, this is much more about refinement, clarity, closing the leaks, and that's exactly what creates the problem you are in. And you have already signed the clients, you're having people in your challenges, you're having people in your spaces and your offers. So you have already done the hard part of getting the sale itself. You already know how to create the results. You already know how to create results. That's not your edge anymore. Your edge right now is this. You have proven you can generate momentum. You have people in your free spaces, challenges, or even paid spaces, but you don't know how to hold it without collapsing it. And you have all these questions and this inner monologue. Is this price okay? Is that price okay? Is this too big jump? Like Helen is now asking, my next offer is £500. Is that too big jump? So you have the momentum, but you're wobbling in holding it without collapsing it. And that's why your revenue moves like this, up, down, then you rebuild, then it drops again. And you're in this constant, it feels like stress, you know, and it's normal to feel like this. First of all, I want you to normalize that it's normal to feel like this. And this is not because you're inconsistent, because your business is not built to stabilize your highest level potential. And here's the part most people don't say directly. You don't actually need to become better. You need to stop disconnecting from the level you already reached. Because every time you hit a strong month and then something shifts, you start questioning. Is this repeatable? Was it luck? Can I actually sustain this? What if it drops again? And that question is horrible. I hate it and I have felt it. And the moment that thought enters, your positioning changes, your decision changes, your standards drop, your prices drop, and you over-deliver and don't have boundaries. Your messaging softens, and instead of saying, this is the very basics, come here for the next step and for the actual transformation, you answer, and you're having this back and forth. And do you know what happens? Your buyers feel this immediately. They feel you're wobbling. And if you're trying to get the sale or the next upsell or the long-term work, people feel you're wobbling and you're not really familiar with what they need. So they either say no and don't resign, or people simply don't buy if it's the first sale. So now you're not scaling from certainty anymore. You're selling from reconstruction, and buyers don't commit into reconstruction. They hesitate. This is why some of you are sitting in businesses that should be already making 70, 100K months. And here the number totally doesn't matter. Like when I'm giving numbers, please just consider this as an example. But you're operating at like 10, 20K consistency, not because you don't know how, but because you're holding the version of you that already did it. So the real work is not how do I grow, it is how do I stabilize the version of me and the version of the business, the boundaries, the clarity, the clear offers, the clear, here is what's included, and then there is the next step. If you're not ready for the next step, you cannot access the transformation in the next step. This is when you're not giving level 10 transformation to people who are at level 2 and who don't want to pay for this and who are not ready for it. So stabilize the version of you that is already making and generating the level of revenue you are currently generating, regardless of the number, and build a business that supports this version, this level, instead of resetting it. Because there is a very specific moment in business that almost no one talks about. It's the moment where you've already seen what you're capable of, but you're not fully there right now. And you can feel the gap. And in that moment, you're trying to become someone new before you have stabilized this. You're trying to scale the business before you have stabilized the level. You're trying to not lose access to what you have built and trying to grow, but that is like, this is fractured, it's not possible. If you are not stable, everything is going to fall apart. And hi, I have been there, it's not pleasant, exactly because in general, I'm very structured and very, systemized, and I want to be very secure, but guess what happened? I tried to scale without stabilizing many things. And mainly without stabilizing, not the sales itself, because making sales is not that difficult to me, but the boundaries. And exactly the example that Helen just gave, that was my case. And when you're doing this at 10K offers or 30 or 50K offers, the pressure gets harder. And if you cannot hold this in a 30 pounds offer, how are you going to hold this in a 50K offer with a 50K client? And I see how many of my clients, they have, I think I gave this example when someone was charging 5K for an offer that must be 15K, but this client had, constant desires, and they were behaving as if they are paying 15K, and my client couldn't hold the pressure. And I was constantly, don't do this, say this is not included, say this is not included, say this is available at the 15K space. But my client couldn't hold the pressure. And guess what happened? That client entered into more giving. They needed more people to be able to deliver the work, and the profit. And I have seen it all. Clients who actually would listen to the mentor and do what I'm recommending because I have the experience, and clients who simply cannot hold this level. That's why I'm having this conversation with you. Don't try to build something new without stabilizing the current level. It's going to crash. That's where most businesses start leaking money, not at the beginning, not at the making sale, at that level, when you already have the clients, when there is already pressure to protect your brand, when you're already feeling, but what would people say? What if someone says something bad? And guess what? Someone says something bad about you, and they're mocking you. And there is a lot of pressure. But then come your best clients who are loyal clients, and it starts, a fight starts. Someone are saying you suck, the other people are saying, no, she's great, and I have this and this results. You want to have the loyal clients, but you need to be able to hold the boundaries to stabilize every level. Because instead of anchoring that level, you start chasing the next one, and that breaks the entire system. And sales on repeat, compounding sales, compounding revenue cannot happen. So now your buyer journey is probably not built for compounding, or the cost is too high. Maybe it's currently built for restarting for many of you. And that's why clients don't re-enter, offers don't stack, people are not going to the next step, revenue is not stabilizing. So you have 1 high cash months and 2 slow months, instead of having, like, let's say, consistent 20, 30, 50K months that are in recurring revenue, and then you can grow on top of this. If you're in the situation where everything depends on you creating it again, what I do here and in my overall work, this is very simple. You can see I don't only teach you how to make more, but how to restructure your positioning so it's revenue-led positioning, so it's bringing money from every post or every live or everything you're doing. How to set up your offers and your buyer path so the level you've already reached becomes stable, repeatable, and expandable. We are going to grow anyway, but we need to make sure we are having a solid foundation before we put the roof. So you don't have to rebuild it every month. And the coaches, the women, the entrepreneurs who buy into this work, they are not buying because they don't know what to do. Someone who earns millions don't hire me because they don't know what to do, most probably. They're buying because they've seen what's happening when they're fully in their power, and they refuse to keep dropping below it. These people don't come asking, will this make me more money? They come and they know, if I don't stabilize this now, I will keep losing what I already built. I don't know, I gave one example of a client who made 800K in 1 month, but I think it was in a live that I did today. So I was giving the example of the bucket. Imagine one bucket, and imagine this is the buyer journey. And this bucket has holes. And yeah, so people enter at the top of the bucket, top of the funnel, and some things compound. But as the bucket fills more and more, these holes, the water starts leaking. And this is the same with the buyer journey. And I had a client who had, in general, had the overall structure and the potential for this, but so much was leaking. And once we stabilize this, 800K in 30 days. Can you imagine making 800K in 30 days? Can you imagine it? So these people come into me and say, if I don't stabilize this now, I will keep losing what I already built. So imagine you're sitting on 800K, but you're not getting them because it's leaking through the holes of the bucket. And when that clicks, the decision is immediate. So think how you can say this to your clients in your tone of voice, for your offer, for your spaces, for the work you do. So they make this decision quickly. The cost is already clear. If you're in that place where you know you have already outgrown your current level, but your business is not holding you there consistently, this is exactly what we're doing inside my masterminds and one-on-one work. We are not creating your next peak just from the sake of it. We are making sure you stop falling from the last one and start compounding from it. And if you heard yourself in this, you already know. And now when you're watching the replay, I want you to take this last part and think how you can say this to your clients. And if this is what you want, come, let's build it. This is the long-term work. I will hold you, but are you ready for this? And I want you to do this in your spaces for your clients. This is it for today. I want to hear the answers of the questions. I will upload the replay in the group and on YouTube. You're going to find it in the group. I will upload the notes, and I want to see your answers. I want to know, what do you want? How do you see your business in 12 months? I want to know what's happening in your current buyer journey. Is it good enough, or is it too much that you are leaking money? Let's see where the leaks are in your business. I will love reading your comments and answers. I want you to present yourself in the group. I want to see you. Tell me, answer these questions. Also from day one, I know you're still catching the replay. I want to see what's great, what's currently not great, what are the struggles, the leaks, what are your needs and desires, where are you going, what are you building. I know you need some time to reflect on everything, and the depth here is real, but give me your feedback. I'm leaving to see your feedback. And the last day, the 5th day, next week on Tuesday, this will be an activation, and I will call you to be on the call, because it's going to be all about you coming to the call with me, and I will show you what you need to know. Let me see the comments before I leave the room. Yeah, so Helen, your next offer is £500. Is that too big jump? No, it's not a big jump, but you need to be very clear that what you're currently doing is the very basics. And this is just the warm up. So if you want to continue this, welcome in this space. And I would even raise the bar. I would raise the price. Yeah, thank you, Helen, for being active and for sharing your answers. I'm looking forward to see everyone's answers. And thank you so much for your time and for being here today as well. See you tomorrow for day 3. And tomorrow I'm going to give you some examples from the luxury brands and the high-level sales, so you can apply this to your high-ticket offers. Thank you so much for being with me. I absolutely love everything that's happening here, and we'll see you tomorrow again the same time. Thank you. Bye-bye.